We're talking about HP inflation.
HP inflation?
Talks about HP inflation.
Zenless Zone Zero HP inflation situation is insane.
What can you as a player do about HP inflation? That's what I'm covering in this video. I'll go through every method I could think of, ranked by how effective they are and how much they will hurt your wallet. Quick disclaimer, if you play only for fun, or if you play casually, or if you don't care, or if you like HP inflation, get out. This video is clearly not for you. But for the rest of us, why should someone even consider fighting HP inflation? First, you want to keep using your older agents. Second, you want to stay free to play. Third, you are not interested in the current banner unit. And four, you don't want to grind in-game modes endlessly. You want that reward faster. Don't want to keep grinding. Now, what happens if you lose this theoretical fight? You lose out on some pulls. Another thing is you will feel bad. You will feel like your builds are bad, your characters are bad, or you yourself are not a good player. And worst of all, you are tempted to spend money and you might break that free-to-play promise you have. And that's dangerous because once you start swiping, it gets easier to keep doing it. So is HP inflation a big deal? No, not in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's not really black or white, it's gray. A really dark gray. Because it is some kind of psychological trick. They are making you do bad financial decisions and stuff like that. Some people might argue that it's positive since it brings challenge and fun and stuff like that, and it is true to some extent, but ultimately I don't think anyone should defend it or want it. With that out of the way, let's get into the actual methods of fighting HP inflation ranked by effectiveness and cost. The first method is really simple. Pull every single character. How effective it is? It's really effective. How much will it hurt your wallet? It will hurt your wallet a lot. Self-explanatory, let's move on. The other method I have is pulling only meta characters. The effectiveness is high and the cost ranges from free to play to painful. This is a little complicated. How do we define meta? What is meta? In my opinion, I don't think this is the correct definition for meta, but an agent I would call meta is either someone who enables the team, someone who makes older teams viable or improves existing good teams, or units that are the team. They are strong on their own, and with a good team they are even stronger, but they don't really care about their teammates. They just work. They don't care about the resistance of the enemy. They don't care about what element they are. They don't care if they're an anomaly boss, if they're an attack boss. They don't care about any of that. They will work. Now, my personal list of must pull meta characters, if you don't have this character, you are poopy, are Yishuan, Miyabi, Astra, Yuzuha, Trigger, Lighter, Jufufu, and Vivian. This is my personal opinion. Now, I don't know what the community thinks, but I personally think that these characters will either enable your team, like Astra and Yuzuha, or they are the team, like Miyabi, Yishuan. Now, Trigger, Lighter, Fufu, and Vivian are characters that are a bit more niche, but in their own niche, they are the best, in my opinion. Now, does that mean that characters that are not here, let's say for example, is Evelyn, is Hugo, is Alice useless because they're not here? No. Even having half of this list will keep you afloat. An account that only have Astra and Yuzuha, you are sorted, my man. Now, about the cost, it depends on how you spend your free-to-play pools. If you spend every single free-to-play pools, for example on Yanagi before Miyabi came out, if you really wanted to do this, if you really wanted to fight HP inflation by pulling the meta character, then you would have to spend money. But if you skip Miyabi and then in the next banner you pick up Astra, you still pick the really good meta character. So it might be free for you, it might cost a fortune. It depends on how did you pull before pulling the meta character. Another method is building your characters properly. How effective is this? It's very effective, but it depends on how good you are building your character characters already. And how much does it cost? It's basically free. Let me give you a little more sauce, a little bit more explanation. Let's say your average Evelyn build has 50% crit rate, 150 crit damage, and 2700 attack. First, when you build your Evelyn, you are going to aim for that baseline. But after you reach that, you have to start going for the best of the best. For example, the best Evelyn I have seen had 60 crit rate, 190 crit damage, 3200 attack. That's really hard to reach, but because I set those numbers as my goal, my Evelyn improved over time and then reached that number. But do note that you don't have to min-max it. For example, my Evelyn and my Vivian, they are good, they work completely fine, and I do not need to min-max everything about these two because they give me what I want. They give the damage, they give me the performance I expect from them. So at some point you have to stop and don't waste your resources working on a character that is already doing a solid job. Another thing you have to understand is that when you build your characters, consider that they might be good with different sets. For example, a support like Nicole sometimes could benefit from Protopunk more than Swing Jazz. Or maybe a character like Evelyn, if you tried her out with Woodpecker, try her out with Hormone Punk too. Test everything. Another thing you can do is vertical investment in your characters. The cost is free to moderate and the effectiveness varies based on the character. When your favorite agent comes back, let's say for example Ellen comes back, if you don't have her engine, go for the engine. If you don't have the mindscape, go for that. And always check which one benefits that particular agent more. Some agents prefer to have maybe M1 or M2 instead of the engine. So always research which one is better. And by the way, if you watched my last video about I'll convince you to skip every W engine in Zenless Zone Zero, I don't think this means that video is just inherently wrong now. I just think we're talking about something completely different, a free-to-play pooling engines when the character is new and the character is worth a lot more than the engine. But right now we're talking about a 1.0 agent, and at that point I wouldn't be mad if someone decided to pull the engine instead of getting a new character or something like that. But I would still recommend someone to really think about doing that. At the end of the day, the goal of my last video wasn't to make everyone skip engines. My goal is to make you guys think about getting the engine before you actually get it. Now, let's not argue about my last video because some of you might have not even watched it. Let's get over it. Now, another tip I have for you is get good. How effective it is, it depends on how good you already are, and the cost is free if you don't consider time money. Improving your gameplay comes down to two main points: mastering your team and learning how to fight the bosses efficiently. Personally, since I started playing this game, I didn't lose a single polychrome from Deadly Assault or Shield Defense, but it didn't happen on the first try. Now, I don't want you to waste your time. Watch other people use the character you have and you will learn a lot more than just mindlessly grinding. For example, I didn't know you could group Palicus in Shiu by standing in a corner. Observing other players taught me how to do that. Someone had a worse team than me, but they got a better time. And when I watched their video, I learned how to get a better time in Shiu defense. Work smarter, not harder. Another thing you can do is boycotting the game. How effective is this? It's not effective at all. And what will it cost? It will cost your sanity and well-being. Boycotting is when you deliberately stop participating in or supporting something as a form of protest or disagreement, and it's usually group effort, not a solo kind of thing. Sure, you could do that, you could complain, you could refuse to engage and stuff like that. It doesn't actually fight HP inflation, it doesn't stop it, it doesn't do anything, and it only frustrates you and the people you decide to do this with. If you want to save your sanity, don't do that. Just take a short break,
Stop it, get some help,
or just quit the game altogether. Your sanity and well-being is way more important than some gacha game. To wrap up, the best ways to fight HP inflation are building your characters smartly, staying updated on new sets, and improving your gameplay. Pulling meta characters help, but you don't need to wail to stay competitive. Focus on what's free or low cost first. Thanks for sticking with me through this video. Hopefully you've got some solid strategies to keep your teams competitive without breaking the bank or your sanity. At the end of the day, it's about enjoying the goddamn game without letting HP inflation ruin your vibe. Let me know in the comments which method you're trying first, or if you've got other tricks up your sleeve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more tips to stay ahead in the game. See you in the next one. Peace!